Hey fam, and welcome to the Happily Ever Active podcast, powered by Fit for the Magic, where Disney magic meets health and wellness. I'm Stephen Kabibi, your friendly personal healthcare companion, and I help travelers like you train for your next trip like it's an endurance event so that you can walk all day, feel strong in your body, and come home feeling energized instead of wrecked. Today, we're talking about why your feet still scream at you on day 3, even after you bought those expensive shoes that everybody recommended. I'm going to break down the 15 specific mistakes that I see people make when choosing footwear, from how you test them in the store to the cushion trap, and how to fix those mistakes so that you don't end up limping through the flight of passage queue at Animal Kingdom. Find everything, including my pocketbook guide, Disney Ready, Your Pain-Free Park Survival Guide, over at fitforthemagic.com. And if you learned something useful on this episode, please share the show and tell a friend. Okay, here we go. I want you to raise your hand if you've been there. You did the research. You went into Facebook groups and you asked, what are the best shoes for Disney? And everyone shouted, Hokas, or On Clouds, or Brooks. So, you bought a pair. You spent the money. And you even broke them in. But you're then standing in line for Slinky Dog Dash. It's 2 p.m. on day 3 of your trip, and your feet are on fire. You're doing that awkward weight-shifting dance, trying to offload things. Your calves are feeling tight. Your arches are screaming, and you're thinking, I did everything right, but why am I still in so much pain? Here's the hard truth I see as a doctor of physical therapy. It is rarely the brand of shoe that is the problem. And actually, it's rarely the shoe type that is the problem as well. The problem is instead in how your shoe interacts with your feet and the unique, brutal demands of a Disney World vacation. Too many people tend to treat Disney like it's some sort of 3-mile stroll around the neighborhood, but in reality, it's a 7-day urban hike. I'm talking 20,000 steps on unforgiving concrete, combined with hours of standing still, the Disney Shuffle. When you pick a shoe that isn't designed for that specific endurance test and you don't train for it, your feet pay the price. So, why does fixing this problem even matter? I mean, obviously nobody wants their feet to get hurt, but when we get our shoe strategy right, we move from just guessing and trying and trying and trying and trying again to strategizing. And the benefits of strategizing are huge. First, you improve your endurance. When your shoes actually support your biomechanics, your body's specific movements and the way they move when you walk, your calves and your knees don't have to work as hard on every single step that you take throughout the day. You have more energy that you can use to get to the end of the day fireworks because you simply didn't burn it all in the first half of the day. Second, the right strategy can help prevent injury flare-ups. I work with so many clients who come back from Disney with symptoms of plantar fasciitis or Achilles tendinopathy or knee pain that can linger for months. The right shoe strategy can help protect and evenly distribute forces among all of the tissues in your legs so that you're less likely to have a flare-up in the first place. So now imagine walking back to the bus stop at night after a long day at Disney and just simply feeling tired. Not in agony, not extremely fatigued, just tired but satisfied. That is the goal. So if the answer is to wear good shoes, of course, why do even the savviest planners get this part wrong? Like, what are the roadblocks that are stopping people from getting it right? Well, the first one is marketing. Shoe companies are really good at that. We're sold this idea that more cushion equals more comfort. And I mean, we see it in shoes all the time now. If a shoe feels like it's a marshmallow, it's got to be good for your feet, right? Well, as a doctor of physical therapy, I encounter this roadblock all the time. We assume that soft means healthy and good for your feet, and that is often not true, especially on 12 to 14-hour days at Disney. Roadblock number 2 is the standing still test. Far too many people buy shoes based on how they feel when they stand on a plush carpet inside a store for 30 seconds. That environment is a lie. It does not replicate the sheer force of concrete or even the swelling that naturally happens in your legs after a 20,000 step day in the parks. Roadblock number 3 is aesthetics. Look, I get it. I want to look good in my castle pictures too. But when you prioritize fashion over function and biomechanics, that is a massive roadblock to a pain-free trip. We tend to convince ourselves, oh, I'll just power through it for the sake of a good-looking outfit and for the gram. But pain is not a badge of honor when it comes to Disney. It's a biological signal that you need to slow down or do something completely different. Change your strategy. Okay, so let's dive into the action plan. I am going to go through 15 mistakes that even the savvy planners tend to make when choosing their shoes for Disney. And to make this even easier to digest for you, I'm going to go ahead and break these mistakes down into 4 different categories. The try-on mistakes, the design mistakes, the usage mistakes, and the mindset mistakes. Let's start with the try-on mistakes. Basically, how you act or how you think about trying on shoes in the store. Mistake number 1, choosing shoes based on standing still. We mentioned this earlier in the roadblocks. Disney obviously is not a ton of standing still. It's part of it, but it's not all of it. It's repetitive push-off. It's the Disney shuffle. It's standing on concrete. Instead of just standing there in the store trying on shoes, walk around in them. Walk briskly, walk slowly, walk off the carpet, walk on the concrete if you can. Take them outside if you can. Try them on in different ways and for more than just 30 seconds. See how feel how your feet move in them. Feel how your toes and your calves feel in them as you're walking, not just when you pose or stand still. Mistake number 2, not testing on hard surfaces. And I hinted this on the previous mistake. But the carpet at the shoe store can play dirty tricks on you. It adds that artificial cushion that we talked about earlier. And that cushion is something that you rarely find at Disney. Instead, find a place in the store where there's some tile or concrete, something harder. If you can, maybe even try to test the shoes outside. You need to know how those shoes can handle impact walking on harder surfaces, not just carpet and fluff. Mistake number 3, not accounting for feet swelling. It's a natural thing. Your legs tend to swell a little bit towards the end of the day. Your feet tend to be larger towards the end of the day, say at like 8 p.m. versus in the morning at 8 a.m. So if you're buying shoes or trying on shoes in the morning that feel snug, they're likely going to feel too tight for you at the end of the day. Instead, I encourage you to shop for shoes at the end of the day when your feet are naturally a little bit swollen. Mistake number 4, ignoring big toe stiffness. When working with my clients, this is a biggie. If your shoe doesn't bend where your toes and your feet naturally bend, then your body has to compensate somehow. It's going to struggle trying to move its natural mechanics when it's in those shoes. So take that shoe, bend the front end toe part of that shoe back. If it feels as stiff as a board, or if it naturally bends in a place where your toes don't naturally bend, then that force will probably move up towards your ankle, your knees, maybe even into your hips. Okay, let's jump into category number 2, the design mistakes. This is now mistake number 5, and that is assuming that more cushion equals less pain. This is something I mentioned earlier in the roadblocks. Maximum cushion is clearly still very trendy, but be careful. Believe it or not, too much squish and plush can create instability in your ankles. It basically forces the stabilizing muscles in your feet and ankles to work overtime to even keep you upright and balanced. In other words, you want balanced cushion, not a ton of it. And, well, you don't want to feel like you're walking on a mattress. Mistake number 6, equating supportive with rigid. So, on the other hand, on the other side of cushion, you don't want something that feels like a cast. If a shoe's too rigid, it blocks your foot and ankle's natural motion. That stress has to end up going somewhere, and usually it goes up your legs to the knees and to the hips. So when it comes to stability, which is different from something that limits ankle motion, you still want something that allows your foot to move naturally. Mistake number 7, thinking that all running shoes and all walking shoes are interchangeable. Running shoes in general can be used as walking shoes at the parks. However, there are certain shoes that are not as appropriate. To be clear, I want to stress the difference between high-end running shoes and walking shoes. So these high-end running shoes often have some sort of carbon-plated sole or really, really aggressive rocker bottoms that are designed to help you push off during the running gait cycle. They're not ideal for walking, let alone standing in line for rise of the resistance. So instead, you want some sort of shoe that is designed for your body's natural walking pattern, not a running marathon pace. Again, I want to emphasize regular running training shoes can work, but the high-end racing shoes, that's something you'd want to avoid. Mistake number 8. Limiting ankle motion too much. Similar to that rigidity issue, a lot of stability shoes tend to lock your ankle down. When we're thinking of something that is extreme, I'm thinking of something like Converse All-Stars, the high tops, right? If your ankle can't move much, then again, forces move up the leg. Your knees start to take a beating. Your hips have to work overtime. Okay. Category number 3, the usage mistakes. So you bought the right shoes for you. Now, here is how you might be using them incorrectly. Mistake number 9, wearing the same pair of shoes every day of your trip. This is a huge one. Repetitive stress on the exact same tissues for 5 days straight can explain why your feet get tired at the end of the day. Or even worse, they might explain why you end up getting injured. Instead, rotate between 2 pairs of shoes. Alternating between 2 pairs of shoes changes the loading pattern even slightly on your muscles, your tendons, your joints, so that can help save your trip in the end. Mistake number 10, wearing the same shoe for your travel days and your park days. This is one thing that almost nobody thinks about. Walking through the airport, going through security, getting to your departure gate puts the same stress on your feet as walking through the parks. If you wear those same shoes to Magic Kingdom on the next morning, you'll likely be starting your day on tired feet or irritated tissues and irritating them even more towards the end of the day. So keep a separate pair of shoes for travel. Or to make it even more simple, just bring 2 pairs of shoes. That way you have 1 pair to use for travel, and then you can start alternating between those pairs of shoes from your travel days to your park days and alternating between park days. Mistake number 11, forgetting the dreaded Disney shuffle. Yes, a lot of us train for all of the walking that happens at Disney, but we also spend hours shuffling in ride queues. This puts a lot of stress on your feet, a lot differently from how the stress is when you're walking or moving around. So ensure that your shoes feel nice and comfortable when you're moving slowly and at a normal walking pace, not just a fast walking pace. All right, now we're into the home stretch, and that is the mindset mistakes. Mistake number 12, prioritizing aesthetics over function. Another major roadblock that I mentioned earlier. The shoes that are like flashy and pretty, the ones that you really want to wear for the gram, they tend to have narrow toe boxes, which can be a major contributor to bunions and maybe even nerve pain. So please, when choosing your shoes, make sure that your toes can splay. Make sure that there's room for your toes to wiggle. There are plenty of really good looking, maybe even cute, wide toe box options that are out now. It's becoming a lot more popular to wear them. So don't sacrifice your toes for the gram. Mistake 13, ignoring how shoes handle fatigue. A shoe that might feel good for walking a mile might not feel so good when you're walking that 10th mile. When you test your shoes, go in with the mindset of, will this support me well after my muscles are really tired at the end of the day? Or better yet, you can visit the shoe store at the end of the day after spending a lot of time on your feet when they're already a little tired. Then, when you're breaking that pair of shoes in, let's say you've chosen the right pair of shoes, use those shoes towards the end of the day when you're walking after your feet are already a little tired. Mistake 14, assuming pain means just you're not tough enough. Here is the truth. Most of the time, pain is not a weakness. It's usually a load management issue. So, don't just power through. Use the light system that I mentioned on episode 2 of the Happily Ever Active podcast. If you've got some pain, slow down, reassess, listen to your body, and adjust accordingly. All right, finally, mistake number 15. Believing that shoes alone will solve your pain. This is the most important one, and this is why I saved the best for last. Shoes are tools. They are not magic wands. Even the best shoes can't fix limited mobility, weakness, or simple lack of training. If your body isn't ready for travel, then the shoe cannot save you. Now, if you're planning a trip and you're worried that your knees, your back, or your stamina might let you down, I want you to check out my Disney Prep Rehab and Strengthening program. This isn't just a workout plan. It is specifically designed to target the muscles used in the parks and to build healthy habits so that you build the walking endurance, standing tolerance, lifting mechanics, and even the right mindset for parents. Let's get you strong before you set foot in Orlando. If that sounds like what you need before your next trip, head to the link in the show notes to schedule a discovery call. All right, if you love what you hear and you want to learn more, I encourage you to head over to fitforthemagic.com where you can find your guide, the 15 must-have items for a pain-free Disney trip. And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share it with a friend and anyone that might benefit from it. And of course, please leave a rating or review in your favorite podcast app if you enjoyed the show. This helps me tremendously as I move forward with new episodes to come. I hope you'll tune in to learn more about how to have a pain-free, soreness-free, and exhaustion-free vacation so that you can make magical memories with your loved ones.